Every 911 version explained. The Porsche 911 should have died in the 1970s. Yeah, no kidding. But destiny had another plan. Today we'll be showing you the exact 24 911 models that revolutionize Porsche and sport cars worldwide. They went against the odds, and you'll find the reasons for why they're so loved and people won't let go of them. 1964 911, originally called the 901. Ferdinand Butzi Porsche drew this when he was just 24 years old. Imagine being 24 and designing the most iconic sports car silhouette ever. Some of you probably can't even parallel park. One night in 1959, he sketched the basic fastback design that would define Porsche forever. Only 82 cars got the 901 badge before Puzau complained about the zero in the middle. They had exclusive rights to 3-digit model numbers with zeros. Seriously? That's corporate pettiness at its finest. Then it became 911. The first two imported to America? One of them, chassis 300-128, won its class at the 1966 Daytona 24 hours. Beat cars twice its size and price. Talk about an underdog story. Ferry Porsche said it best. The only car you can drive from an African safari to Le Mans, then to the theater and onto the streets of New York. 130 horsepower from a 2.0-liter flat six. 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 9.1 seconds. Not bad for 1964, right? 1973 Carrera RS 2.7. Born out of necessity, Porsche needed 500 cars for Group 4 homologation. They ended up building 1,580 because everyone wanted one. Classic Porsche supply and demand. 210 horsepower, 2.7-liter flat six, weighing just 960 kilograms in sport trim. During testing, they discovered a fatal flaw. Dangerous rear lift at high speeds that made the car unstable. Hermann Burst and Rolf Wiener solved it with the now iconic ducktail spoiler. They tested it in wind tunnels and discovered something amazing. Not only did it eliminate rear lift completely, it actually improved top speed by reducing drag. Sometimes the best solutions are the simplest ones. First production car with both front and rear aerodynamic aids. The RS wore widened rear fenders, 42 millimeters wider than standard. This staggered wheel setup solved traction issues and created the distinctive wide hip silhouette. Every Performance 911 since has used this formula. The Sport deleted sound insulation, rear seats, even the glove box door. Weight reduction through subtraction. The RSR racing version dominated immediately. Won Daytona 24 hours and Targa Florio in its debut season. Porsche's slogan? By road to the race and home again. Today, over $1 million for a perfect one. You probably can't afford one. Neither can I. 1975 911 Turbo. Codename 930, not 007. Porsche's 917 Can-Am racers made 850 horsepower from turbocharged flat 12s. Those cars were dominating American racing with brute force. Ernst Foreman brought that tech to the 911. Single KKK turbocharger bolted to a 3.0-liter flat 6 based on the Carrera RS engine. 260 horsepower introduced at the 1974 Paris Motor Show. Instantly reset expectations for what a production car could do. But this power came with serious danger. The nickname? Widowmaker. Rear weight bias, massive turbo lag, then sudden boost. Hit the throttle, wait a moment, then brace yourself. No power steering, no ABS, no traction control. Pure analog terror that separated the brave from the smart. Outperformed Ferraris costing twice as much. That whale-tail spoiler wasn't just for looks. Directed cooling air to the engine and created crucial downforce. In 1978, they upgraded to 3.3 liters with an intercooler. Racing derivatives dominated everything. The 935 Moby Dick with its massive bodywork became one of racing's most recognizable cars. 123 outright wins in 370 races. Steve McQueen ordered a 1976 930 as his very last Porsche purchase. Even the king knew a legend when he saw one. 1986 959, fastest production car in the world at 317 kilometers per hour. Third car on our list and probably the most important. Sequential twin turbos virtually eliminated lag. 450 horsepower and 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 3.7 seconds. The PSK all-wheel drive system actively split torque between axles. Default 31/69 front-rear split, but could go full 50-50 when needed. Made it a rocket on the Autobahn and unstoppable in any conditions. I guess you know what the Autobahn is, am I right? The 959 conquered the 1986 Paris-Dakar Rally. Finished first and second against purpose-built desert trucks. Same year, it won the punishing Safari Rally outright. It pioneered everything that's now standard. Water-cooled cylinder heads paired with air-cooled blocks. First production tire pressure monitoring system. Ceramic composite brakes that could stop from any speed. Only 292 production units built at around $225,000 each. Porsche reportedly lost money on every single one, but every innovation eventually trickled down to future Porsches. Bill Gates owned one and couldn't import it to the US, sat in customs for 13 years until he helped change federal law. The show and display exception exists because of the 959. When Bill Gates wants something, he gets it. Eventually. 1989, Carrera 4, Type 964. The most significant 911 redesign in the model's history. 85% completely new parts while somehow keeping the classic silhouette. Took 6 years and enormous investment to develop. First production 911 with all-wheel drive, taking lessons learned from the 959. Default 31% front, 69% rear power distribution, could lock 50-50 on slippery surfaces via viscous coupling. Changed everything about how a 911 handled in rain, snow, or loose surfaces. Brand new 3.6-liter flat 6 making 250 horsepower, 30% more power than the old 3.2. First time ever with coil springs instead of traditional torsion bars. Completely transformed the ride and handling. The 964 finally dragged the 911 into the modern age. ABS brakes standard for the first time, power steering to tame the heavy controls, dual airbags for safety, first automatic transmission option in 911 history, self-retracting front spoiler that popped up automatically, all while keeping the classic 911 shape that everyone loved. The 964 spawned incredible variants too. The 964 Carrera RS 3.8 with 300 horsepower, the 964 Turbo with 320 horsepower. The 964 proved the 911 could evolve dramatically without losing its soul. 1978 911 SC. This Porsche was never supposed to exist. Porsche designed it as a temporary bridge to the 928. Executives thought the front-engine 928 would replace the 911 entirely, but customers had other ideas. They refused to let the 911 die. A single 3.0-liter model producing 180 horsepower simplified the confusing lineup of T, Carrera, and S variants. Became the best-selling 911 of the 1970s with 56,000 units built. The SC's bulletproof reliability made it legendary among mechanics. Many consider the 3.0-liter engine one of the most durable 911 power plants ever. The SC's success convinced Porsche executives to keep the 911 alive. If not for the SC, we might not have any 911s today. Thank goodness for stubborn customers. 1984, Carrera 3.2. The Carrera 3.2 brought the digital age to the 911. First 911 with Bosch Motronic engine management. 3.2-liter flat 6 making 231 horsepower. 26 horsepower more than the SC thanks to better breathing. First Carrera with power steering as standard equipment. Introduced the popular M491 turbo look package. 76,000 built over 5 years, making it one of the most produced variants. The 3.2 was the last 911 before the major 964 redesign. Many consider it the final, pure, classic 911. 1989 and 1994 Speedsters. The 1989 and 1994 Speedsters revived the spirit of the original 356. Low-cut windshield raked at 34 degrees. Distinctive double-bubble tonneau cover behind the seats. About 800 G-Series Speedsters built in 1989. 3/4 had the turbo wide-body treatment. The 1994 964 Speedster was even more exclusive. Just 936 examples made it the rarest 964 variant. Both versions deleted creature comforts to emphasize pure driving. No air conditioning, radio, or rear seats. These cars appreciated faster than almost any other Porsche. 1995 993. The 993 represented the absolute pinnacle of air-cooled engineering. 3.6-liter flat 6 making 272 horsepower initially. Later bumped to 285 horsepower with twin-spark ignition. The multi-link rear suspension finally tamed the 911's snap-oversteer tendency. Called the Weissach axle after Porsche's test track, first 911 ever with a 6-speed manual transmission. The 993 spawned absolute legends. The 993 GT2 with rear-wheel drive and 430 horsepower. The 993 Turbo with all-wheel drive and 408 horsepower. Many enthusiasts call the 993 the finest 911 ever made. Perfect balance of classic character and modern capability. Values have absolutely skyrocketed in recent years. 1996 996. The 996 was Porsche's biggest gamble in decades. First water-cooled 911 in history. Shared components with the Boxster to cut costs. Controversial fried egg headlights that divided opinion. 3.4-liter flat 6 making 300 horsepower. 40% more power than the 993 it replaced. Despite initial skepticism from purists, 175,000 were built. Most successful 911 generation by pure numbers. The 996 proved Porsche could modernize successfully. The The 996 GT3, with its 3.6-liter making 360 horsepower, became a track legend. Today, 996s are finally getting the respect they deserve. About time. 2006 Club Coupe. The 2006 Club Coupe celebrated the Porsche Club of America's 50th anniversary. Only 50 built in stunning Azzurro California blue. Named after the color used on 1950s 356 racers. First 997 with the factory X51 performance kit. 3.8-liter engine boosted to 381 horsepower. Came with 19-inch center lock wheels and PCCB ceramic brakes. Only sold to verified PCA members. At around $115,000, they sold out instantly. Today they're worth several times that original price. Want one? You'll need deep pockets and good luck finding one. 2007 997 GT2. The 997 GT2 earned the nickname Last Widowmaker. 530 horsepower from a twin-turbo 3.6-liter. About 90 horsepower more than the 997 Turbo. Rear-wheel drive only with no traction control. Only 194 built for the entire U.S. market. Walter Röhrl set a 7:32 Nürburgring lap time. Fastest production car record at the time. The GT2 demanded serious driving skill. One mistake could send you into the barriers. Not exactly a beginner's car. 2010 Porsche Sport Classic. The Sport Classic launched Porsche's heritage design strategy. 250 examples built with handcrafted attention to detail. Double bubble roof inspired by classic racing cars. Fixed ducktail spoiler like the original 1973 RS. 408 horsepower from the naturally aspirated 3.8-liter. First 911 since the Carrera GT with double bubble roof design. Sold out immediately to collectors worldwide. 2010 997 GT2 RS. The 997 GT2 RS took the concept to absolute extremes. 620 horsepower from the twin-turbo 3.6-liter. Most powerful 911 ever built at the time. Weighed just 1,383 kilograms thanks to extensive weight saving. Only 500 built for the entire world. Set a new Nürburgring production car record at 718. Walter Röhrl called it a monster after that lap. The GT2 RS was essentially a street-legal race car. Values have since soared past $1 million for perfect examples. Some investments are better than others. 2011 997.2 GT3 RS 4.0. The GT3 RS 4.0 was the Mezger engine's final masterpiece, largest displacement ever fitted to a production 911. 4 liters making 500 horsepower at 8,500 RPM, could rev all the way to 9,000 RPM safely. Individual throttle bodies like a proper race car, only 600 built for the entire production run. Many consider it the greatest naturally aspirated 911 ever built. The last hurrah for the legendary Mezger Flat 6. The end of an era. 2016 911R. The 911R instantly became a cult hero. 500 horsepower GT3 engine mated to a 6-speed manual. 991 total examples built, matching the chassis code number. Deleted the GT3's massive rear wing for a cleaner appearance. Despite costing around $200,000, values quickly tripled. Some sold for over $500,000 before delivery. Proved there was still massive demand for analog driving experiences. You want to save the manuals? This is how you save the manuals. 2017 Carrera T. The Carrera T revived the classic touring designation. Deleted rear seats and infotainment system to save weight. 3.0-liter twin-turbo, making 370 horsepower. 6-speed manual with shortened gear ratios. About 1,500 built worldwide, including coupes and Targas. 2018 GT3 Touring Package. GT3 performance without the massive rear wing. 4.0-liter naturally aspirated, making 500 horsepower. Could rev to 9,000 RPM with that intoxicating flat 6 sound. First allocation sold out in just 24 hours. Perhaps the best road car Porsche has ever made. That's what Jalopnik said about it. Chris Harris from Top Gear bought both the 99, 1.2, and 992 versions. Daily drove them and called them perfect. When a professional racing driver buys one for personal use, you know it's special. 2019 991.2 Speedster. The 991.2 Speedster was the heritage finale for the 991 generation. Commemorated the 356's 70th anniversary with 1,948 examples. Each number represented the year the first 356 was completed. 4.0-liter GT3 engine making 502 horsepower. Last 911 with a genuinely manual soft top. No electric motors or hydraulics to assist. Double bubble tonneau covers behind the seats. Most were finished in historic guards red. 2021 992 GT3. The 992 GT3 introduced game-changing technology, double wishbone front suspension in a 911 for the first time, completely transformed the handling characteristics. 4.0-liter flat six making 510 horsepower, 10 more than the 991.2 thanks to improved breathing. Rear-wheel steering for incredible agility. Available with either a 6-speed manual or 7-speed PDK. Development driver Jörg Bergmeister personally wrote to each manual buyer, offered his phone number for driving advice. Talk about customer service. 2022 Sport Classic. The Sport Classic became the most powerful manual 911 ever. 550 horsepower from a twin-turbo 3.7-liter. More power than any stick-shift 911 before it. Limited to just 1,250 examples worldwide. First and only 911 with a 7-speed manual transmission. Sport gray metallic paint with retro racing stripes. Double bubble roof and fixed ducktail spoiler. Each car came with a matching Porsche design chronograph. Priced around $270,000 but sold out immediately. Want to flex on other Porsche owners? This is how you flex on other Porsche owners. 2023 Carrera T. The Carrera T continued the lightweight tradition on the 992 platform. All-wheel drive mechanically converted to rear-wheel drive. 3-liter twin-turbo making 380 horsepower. 10 more than the previous 991 Carrera T. Sport-Tex fabric seat inserts as classic touring tradition. Available in coupe, targa, and cabriolet body styles. First open-top 911S to carry the touring designation. 2023 911 Dakar. The 911 Dakar represents the most adventurous 911 concept ever. 3.6-liter twin-turbo making 480 horsepower. All-wheel drive with specialized off-road programming. Adjustable suspension can lift the car 120 millimeters above normal. 215 millimeters total ground clearance for serious off-road work. Limited to 2,500 examples paying tribute to Porsche's 1984 Paris-Dakar victory. Can genuinely tackle desert rallies and rough terrain. Ferry Porsche would be proud of this ultimate safari car. Who needs a Land Rover when you have a 911 Dakar? Singer DLS. Finally, the Singer DLS represents the absolute ultimate reimagining of what a 911 can be, built on a 964 chassis, but weighing just 990 kilograms. Lighter than the original 911 from 1964. Williams F1 developed 4.0-liter, making 500 horsepower. Same team that builds Formula One engines. Hans Mezger and Norbert Singer consulted on the project. 75 examples planned at over $2 million each. Takes 2 years to hand-build just one car. Every component is bespoke and engineered for perfection. Proves the 911 platform's potential is truly limitless. What are your limits? Would you say no to any of these cars? If yes, to which? I don't want to see people hating these cars if they have never ever at least seen one in real life. See you in the next video here on Tune My Ride.